Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would sit down and talk about basically all of my current favorite products. So this is not everything by any means, but these are a lot of go-tos that I have been using and reaching for consistently for a little while now. A couple of them are a bit newer and some of them I've had for quite a while. So without further ado, let's start playing with some of my favorite products. I'm going to keep this a little bit more casual, get ready with me type of video, but I am going to tell you why these are some of my favorites. So the first thing I'm using is the No Problem Priming Water. So this one is toning water and essential oil. So it's a very thin consistency. So I do love to layer two primers, and mainly I put the primers in the areas that I need them, but I do like to kind of layer them and mesh them together. This one is very thin but very hydrating. So if you are someone who is dry and you want extra hydration before you put on really any foundation, this is a great one. This one's by Touch in Soul, and yeah, this is probably the most recent product out of all of these, and it's quickly become a big favorite of mine. I have a lot of primers that I love, but this one, it gives a little bit of tackiness, but it's really intense hydration. So it's going to be a little bit better suited for those of you who are dry, but if that's what you're looking for, it's an A+. I'm such a weird person when it comes to my hands feeling dirty, so I usually like wipe my hands off between every single step. I know that's ridiculous. That I guess is one of my eccentric little things. This next primer I have used a lot of, and you guys have heard me talk about it. This is the CoverGirl True Blend Base Business, and this is the pore minimizing version. I like this one a lot because it's pore minimizing, but it's not overly drying, and it will mattify just a little bit, but it's not drying to the skin at all. So I love to put this in the areas where my pores are a bit more noticeable. And you'll see that I do kind of just blend it out T-zone and across the cheeks. So I get a lot of coverage with this one. So that's what I mean. These primers layer really nicely together. And to me, you need the first one to be kind of thin because I don't want to layer two thick primers. So these are absolutely amazing. I am going to go with probably my favorite foundation. It's the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear, and I have the shade Mont Blanc. I like to give it a little shake. I am going to use a beauty blender today. This is what I use anytime I have the time to wet a beauty blender. I always wash mine. If I am in a rush, I will grab my Stands Out beauty sponge. That's the memory foam one. I do love that one as well, but I like my beauty blender so much wet and damp. I think it just gives the perfect application, especially with this foundation. I do have to give a mention to the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made. I love this foundation so much, and if you are on a budget and you're like, okay, you love both of these, go for this one. You absolutely cannot beat it. It is such good foundation. It's good coverage, and the price is like unbelievable for the quality. So this NARS one, as you can see, color blends really nicely, and it looks skin-like but still gives a ton of coverage. And the reason I love this one so much is it kind of walks the fine line between full coverage but not cakey. It's just perfect on my skin. This one has a little bit of radiance to it, but I don't want you guys to think that this is overly dewy. It's not by any means. It just has a little bit of that healthy, natural, radiant look. So that is one healthy layer. I just did a few small pumps onto my sponge directly and then went in on the face. So that is the foundation. Sometimes if I want to go extra full coverage, I'll add a little bit of extra coverage in the cheeks where I have discoloration. So now it's time for concealer, and I actually posted an Instagram video today and one of you guys asked if I was going to review the Jeffree Star concealer and setting powder. I felt like everybody had probably seen a million reviews, so I didn't know if you guys would really want that in like a dedicated video, but I do have both of these products, and ever since I've gotten them, they have been what I've been reaching for the most, so I definitely wanted to tell you guys about them. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start going in with the concealer. So the reason that I personally love this one so much is because I can really layer this one up, give amazing coverage, but it doesn't get cakey. So a lot of times if I go a little too heavy with concealer under the eye, it tends to look really cakey, heavy, and then it doesn't settle well. I have a lot of creasing under the eye just with the way my under eye is shaped. That's just how it goes for me. So I always get a little bit of creasing, and this one really is not 100% crease proof on me, but it's probably the best that I've ever found. So if I had to like rank concealers, I would probably say it's going to be this one, the Jeffree Star Magic Star Concealer, Shape Tape, Too Faced Born This Way Super Coverage, and then the NARS Radiant Creamy. Those have been the ones that really blew me away. I can't think of any others off the top of my head that have ever like been up to par with those. There are others that are good that you can get by with, and I know those are all kind of pricey, but this is actually probably the most affordable one out of all of those, and it has amazing coverage. It's just really good. So let's blend it out. I also love this as an eyeshadow base, so I'm just going to go ahead and as I'm blending, any excess is going to go onto the eyelid. It doesn't take a lot. So literally it's just like as I'm blending out, I'll take it in the inner corner and then over the eyelid. So you may wonder why I do this with concealer. So for me, and a lot of people just go directly in on the chin, I have a long enough chin and a chin that is forward enough, but what I do have are like little dips right here where instead of having like a smooth jawline, it kind of dips in and then goes back out. So I like to bring that little area forward if I can, and it creates what I would like for it to be a more smooth jawline. So as you can see, that looks really nice. We're gonna go right back in with the powder. So I do love this powder for the under eye. Something about it, it lays smoothly, it melts in, it never looks dry powdery, if that makes sense, which I feel like a lot of them do. If I use Laura Mercier setting powder under my eyes, it's very dry on me. I already have drier skin and dry under eyes, and I just don't want that. This one does have a little scent to it, but it doesn't smell like perfume. It literally smells like just a little bit of sweet cotton candy, and it doesn't linger. So if you're worried about that as I'm setting it, I do. So I'm smelling it here, and then once I pull away, I don't really smell it. So on my eyelids, I like to go back in with the bottom of my beauty blender, pat, 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 try not to blink my eyes open again, and then lightly set. Now you can go in on top of concealer directly with eyeshadow. It'll give you like a really bold look and it will really adhere. But to me, it makes it a little bit harder to blend, and if I'm doing just like a normal everyday look, I am gonna set the concealer on my eyelids as well. So as you can see, I didn't do like a heavy bake under the eyes. I do have a little bit baking just in certain areas, but it's not overly heavy. I'm gonna let that sit for just a moment, and then I'm gonna powder the rest of my face. So another powder I've been loving lately is the Pretty Vulgar Powder Room. This one's really nice as well. It's actually another favorite of mine. I still prefer this slightly under the eye area, but I do like to set other parts of my face with this. It's kind of personal preference. Some people only use setting powder under the eye area and where they use concealer. I like to use it in larger areas over the face. That's just me. Oh, holy shit. Oh my god, I dumped out so much. I'm just using the Too Faced Mr. Right, and I'm taking just a little bit and just pressing first in my oily areas with a bit heavier of a layer of powder. I almost bake my nose because I use a lot of hydrating products everywhere because I am pretty dry, but my nose will get pretty oily. Also get a little oily here, a little on the chin, and right beside the nose on the cheeks. So that's where I go heaviest with powder. And then after that, I'm just being a little bit more cautious. So I'll start with a little bit, tap off a lot, and then just pat in. So again, personal preference, not everybody will do this the same way. That is totally fine. Once I have a little bit of powder, I'm going to use this brush. This is the Sephora Pro Featherweight Blending. Honestly, I don't think this is a very good blending brush, but it is perfect for kicking off excess powder. So once I've done that, I'm taking just my hands and I'm just gonna pat and see any areas that have a little bit of tackiness. So I'm feeling just a little bit around my jawline. I like to cover my earrings up and then go a little heavier. I do bronze a lot around the hairline, So I do take a little extra powder there. So I usually like to bronze at this point. Sometimes I'll do brows first, sometimes I'll bronze. Today I feel like doing my bronzing step and then I will go into brows. So this has been repackaged. I have an older packaging. This is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess. This one is the clay bronzer. This one has some luminosity to it and I actually really love this during the summertime. I like a more luminous bronze. I'm really fair, so I'm always a little cautious when I'm using bronzer to not go overboard because it can look quite obvious. I do a good bit of bronzing on the forehead. I have a larger forehead, it's just life. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bronze up the jawline, mainly focusing underneath. Since that NARS matches really well, I like to lightly bronze up the neck just to give the appearance that the neck is ever so slightly darker, but it kind of matches the bronze areas of the face. That's, again, my preference. So I'm basically done a nice smooth canvas and a little bronzing. Every time I use this little assortment of products, I love the way it turns out. My under eye looks so smooth and bright. Everything just comes together so nicely. So I'm just using Anastasia Dip Brow. I'm using soft brown. I'm not going to bore you guys with an entire 10-minute segment just about brows. If you guys want a specific brow tutorial, leave that in the comments below. I'll be glad to do it, but I'm just going to do my brows off camera. This is just like an OG staple. I think everybody kind of loves this product, so not a lot of explanation needed, but it is amazing. So I will be right back. Alright, so there you go. This is a little bit of the stronger brow look that I go for. I don't always do my brows as dark or as full, but yeah, that's usually what I do with my dip brow. I try to create little hair strokes in the front. Yeah, that's basically it. So now I'm going to go into one of my favorite contour palettes of all time. This one is by Lunatic Cosmetics Lab. I always say that wrong. Lunatic Cosmetic Labs. I always say Lunatic's Cosmetics. I always say... Anyway, this one's really amazing. This is the original one. So here is the layout. You do have from very fair to deeper. Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, that looks a little light, they have other volumes. This was just the one that fit my skin tone the best because I'm pretty darn fair. So here lately, I have been using this Milani powder bronzer brush. What are you doing, buddy? So usually what I do is a mixture of these two shades. So this side is more gray and cool. Then you have your warmer colors. I just dip in a little bit of both, a little bit of the light gray, and then as you can tell, I used a lot of the light contour color. That's probably the best color in here for me, but I like to cool it down just a little bit. So I'm gonna go heavier into the hairline and forehead contour with this, alongside the temples too. I want to create that really natural color. I'm going to continue with this brush and I'm going to do all 4 shades and contour the jawline a bit more. I have this Sephora small contour brush and once again lightly into those 3 shades and then a little bit more into that color. This is where I really chisel out the cheeks. And I kind of hug my cheek there so it gives a more natural look, kind of curves around the cheek. And for the nose, I've actually been using this this is from their last year's holiday Grinch collection, and I'm doing all 4 shades but really focusing on the light gray and the light contour and just going on the front and sides of the nose. So the sides of my nose are like way back here. I go a little bit more forward to make it look a little bit slimmer. I'm supposed to be telling you guys why I love these products so much, but I guess I'm also telling you guys how I use them. And I try to like shape up the tip of the nose. I drag mine just a little bit into the brow bone. I don't know, I saw Wayne Goss do that one time and I felt like it just worked from the shape of my nose. Not everybody will do that, but it creates what looks like a more natural sweep to the bone. There's my little nose contour. It's not overly done, but it's got a little bit of structure now. I love this for contour, and if I'm fair, if I'm darker, I can definitely find something to make it work. The blushes down the middle are nice too, but they are not my absolute favorite. We are going to go into blush next. Alright, so Milani makes some of my all-time favorite blushes. This one is Blossom Time Rose. And these blushes in particular are my favorites, the Rose Powder blushes. So this one's a little bit more of peachy pink. It's just a gorgeous color. And lately I've actually been using this little Wet n Wild from their Unicorn collection. It's just a really nice small blush brush. High onto the cheek and back. If you've watched my videos for a while, you know I don't do heavy blush. It's not a look that I particularly enjoy on myself. Other people it looks gorgeous on, and every once in a while I'll get a wild hair and want to go heavier. But these are the few blushes that work for me and that I can go a little bit heavier. And they are pigmented, but they're not overly like shocking colors. Even if you go a little ham and you go a little overboard, you can always tone them down a little bit. You can go in with a sponge and just tap, tap, tap. It will kind of just diffuse it a little bit, but honestly, these are gorgeous. Nice, pigmented, yet blendable, and really pretty. So that's about the amount that I like to do. And this one has just a little sheen to it, a little luminosity. So it looks like the cheek is a little lifted. It's luminous. It's not too matte, but it's also not glittery. So that's the key for me. For highlight, this Pixie Duo has been my absolute favorite. This is the Glowy Gossamer Duo in the shade Delicate Dew. So these are the two shades in here. It's kind of hard to see the color because they are so reflective even in the pan. This MAC 133 is my all-time favorite highlight brush. And what I love to do with this is grab mainly the lighter shade. So I'll just like tap, tap, tap. I'll do a little couple swipes of the darker gold and then heavily into the lighter shade. The darker of the two on its own is too dark. But look at that glow. This blends into the skin and makes you have that beautiful, reflective, just perfectly highlighted skin. And it doesn't look overdone. It never accentuates my texture. And I love these. Like Pixie really knocked it out of the park with this. And I can go heavy in there. Obviously, you can go softer and not go overboard the way that I do, but these are so gorgeous. So what I like to do with this too is take it, sweep it onto the temple and above the brow. This highlight can become very glowy very fast. So I just start off really softly on the nose. And I want to kind of have that reflection where you may not see it straight on, but once you start turning, you see a little bit of that glow. And then I like to take this and go right in between, just with the very last excess on my MAC brush. And then of course you can kiss the Cupid's bow. I'm going to skip past eyes for a moment and talk about a few lip products. So I really had a hard time narrowing this little category down. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Grande Lips Hydra Plump Lip Primer. So it looks like this. I'm going to click it and kind of put a little bit on. So a lot of days I want to plump my lips, but I don't want to use a gloss, or I want to go underneath a liquid lipstick. This is the perfect product for that. So this goes on kind of like a gel. I like to get it all the way to the edge of the lips. So I do like to let this dry down a little bit, but this gives that nice plump. It just fills out the lips perfectly. So when I want to put on a liquid lipstick, especially when I want to go in with, say, a metallic that can sometimes be a little hard to work with, I want my lip to look full and smooth. So this primer kind of does that. It's not going to give you like you just had lip injection lips, obviously, but it just kind of fills out any of those little fine lines. It gives a little extra plumpness. So I'm letting that dry down just a bit more. And then another Grande product, this is the Hydra Plump Liquid Lipstick. And I'm actually going to show you guys the metallic, because to me, there are about maybe 3, and that would be pushing it, brands that have metallic lips that I actually think are good. And Grande has my favorite. So I'm going to show you guys that. The key with these to me is just to not go overboard with the product, because it can get dry, it can get thick, and it can get heavy on the lips. So these have a little bit of the plump factor as well, but I do like to layer them and just get a little bit more bang for my buck. Personally, you can obviously use the lip primer with any other lip product. Once it dries down, it will not disturb your other lip product, so go in with your favorite. I did not dip in more than once, and I really didn't even use all the product on the doe foot. These plumpers don't like make my lips uncomfortable or like super tingly. It just has like a light tingly sensation all over, but it's not bad at all. well. I've never had a metallic look this pretty on, and it stays looking pretty for a long time. So I just wanted to mention those. Also, a quick mention to a couple other favorites. So ever since I did a swatch video of the Liquid Catsuit High Shine Liquid Lipstick, these have been a go-to for me. If you want a lipstick for the summer that's not going to dry down matte, it's not going to look cakey, it's not going to look dry, cracked, all that stuff that I just don't want in my life right now, these are great. They're very, very pigmented. I honestly loved every single one except for one color, and that one wasn't even bad. It was just a little bit streaky. It was the darkest one, but highly recommend these. They're so affordable, and I love to pair these with the lip primer that I just used. That's the plumping one. And also, one of my favorite glosses right now are the Tarte H2O glosses. I have mentioned these multiple times. This is just one of the colors that I have. This is Room Service, which is kind of like a pinky lavender. These glosses are just good. They're not too sticky, they're not too thick, they just look really gorgeous. So highly recommend those as well. And now it's time to jump into something on the eyes. I'm gonna go a little bit simpler and more so tell you about the shadows that I like. I have to say, I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, and it would take me just too long to talk to you about all my favorites right now. Maybe one day we'll go into that in a separate video, but I just wanted to give a few mentions to a few brands that I feel are like my go-tos. So I just posted a video today using a couple different Anastasia palettes. To me, their palettes are consistently good. This one is the Riviera. Of course, you've probably seen it 100 times, but I love the quality. Anastasia, to me, I can consistently go grab an eyeshadow palette and I know what I'm getting out of it. It's good quality, it's blendable, and it wears well. Another quick mention to Jeffree Star palettes. I do love them a lot. This is the Alien one. This is just like one example because the Blood Sugar is probably my all-time favorite. I really want to get my hands on the Blue Blood, and that summer collection looks so gorgeous. Yeah, I'm just not going to think about what my bank account's going to look like in a little bit. I'm looking at my other palettes right now. I have so many others that I do really enjoy, but when I think of consistently grabbing palettes over and over and I know what I'm getting and I can rely on them, these are the ones. And then also I have to tell you guys that the Juvia's Place palettes are some of my favorites. So the Zulu I have, bright colors, it's so gorgeous. I love this one so much. And then I think what I'm going to put on my eyes today is the Saharan by Juvia's, which is just gorgeous. This one has a couple brights, several neutrals, and then a lot of beautiful metallics inside. So these are consistently beautiful eyeshadows. So I think what I'm going to do is something very simple. I'm going to take Katsina right here, and on a crease brush, I'm just going to go in and start blending. I'm not going to go to a crazy eye look. I already have a really bold lip on. I'm going to do something simple. This is a look that I can do any day and just run out the door and know that it's going to look good. They're great shadows. I don't have to work too much to get a great look. That just blends out so effortlessly, and it may be a little scary, but I'm going to take Chad, which is a very pigmented black. Now you can see that color starting to build. One of my favorite brushes, Morphe E17. This one is great for outer corner and crease work. Going in with my very first brush that I used. Same first color, Katsina. So just a beautiful, easy blend. I'm gonna take Chad a little bit more and just kind of connect my lash line with the outer corner and blend in. I'm gonna take the shade Zoya right here. It is freaking gorgeous. It's a great little metallic color. Super simple eye. I'm going to even them out and then we'll come back and finish up. So here is the finished look. I went ahead and added mascara, and this has been my go-to for months. I do dabble in a lot of mascaras. I don't always use the same one, but this one really did it for me. This is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. Ever since I got this one and started using it, it's really surpassed all my other mascaras. As you can see, my lashes look long and full. This is one coat. I don't have to fuss with a lot of mascara. I don't like layering them. Most mascaras get really clumpy. I don't like doing that. So I really want one that's going to give me fuller, longer curled lashes in one coat. And this one does it. And the best part, you could pick this one up for like $6 at Walmart. You just can't beat it. So yeah, CoverGirl to me Really been stepping it up, and I love this mascara. One more little thing, I'm gonna set my face. This is the Algenist Splash Hydrating Setting Mist. I've never actually seen another person talk about it, and I'm sure there are people and I just haven't seen them, but it deserves a lot of recognition. I love this setting spray. I'm gonna spray some. So it has a beautiful, long, continuous mist. So you just spray it down and keep it moving. So I usually spray it about 4 times to really coat the face. Now this one adds hydration, but not oiliness. So it doesn't automatically give you like a dewy finish. It just gives you a burst of hydration into the skin. It melts your powders so beautifully. My makeup lasts a long time when using this. I'd like to dab my beauty blender if I have a little peach fuzz sticking up. Sometimes the spray will kind of make it stand up, and this just kind of presses it all in. Everything melts together beautifully, and I always love my makeup. I love the finished product, and this makes it last so long. So that is my total finished look using all of my favorite products of the moment right now. Of course, I'm sure I'll have new favorites soon because makeup is constantly changing, but let me know down below if you've used any of these products, if you have the same opinion or differing opinions. If you don't like any of these products, totally fine. Everybody's skin is different, their preferences are different. We like different types of makeup and different feels, but let me know below. I really want to know if you guys have any of the similar favorites or similar opinions about these products. Thank you so much for watching. I know this probably got to be a little bit of a longer video, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me through it. And I do have one more thing to take care of. Dad jokes. I ate a clock yesterday. It was so time consuming. That one's witty, but it's also like bad. But that's the dad joke. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.